Graduations are like funerals. Not only because we, after 4 long years, feel dead and are very ready for a nice and eternal nap, but also because funerals are not for the dead. They are for you, the parents and family here to celebrate your loved ones. Here to celebrate your loved one's transition from one stage of their life to the next. We students have and will be swallowing your advice for years. And on this night especially, any more advice giving would be like lecturing a corpse in a coffin. And so, since you are all here, I think it's our turn to throw some advice back at you. None of these pieces of advice are concrete, but I think that on the whole, these are some tips to consider when dealing with the adultification of your once young and sweet children. Dear parents, do not be offended when we don't take your advice. We have no doubt that you are wiser than us. We have no doubt that things will go wrong if we do not listen to you. But things going right is not our first priority. Our first priority is to learn. Even if we aren't in the classroom anymore, we are learning faster and at a greater rate now than we have been in a very long time. And the way to learn is not to be given the answer from someone else. Trust me, we have all tried that. The real way to learn is to try and fail again. And eventually, if we're lucky, we will become such deft and accomplished adults that we will struggle with our own children when they don't follow our advice. Dear parents, of course now is the time that we charge into the exciting and terrific world of adulthood, and it is very important that you let us do that. But it is equally important that you stop us from not doing that. The future may not scare us yet, but let me tell you, we are just too ignorant to be as terrified as we should be. Little do we know how regularly real and important decisions will face us and how complicated and frustrating the bureaucracy of adult life can be. It will be very tempting for us to come back to the nest, curl up in our warm and safe beds, and pretend we're back in freshman year where everything is easy and simple and boring. But whether we succumb to these temptations or not, we will capital N need your encouragement to continue to try and fail and learn and be the best adults that we can be. Dear parents, we are not you, and we don't want to be you. And you don't want us to be. For us to find out who we are, you will need to accept that we are wrong often and about a lot of things. It will be scary to see how inept we are. But everyone is wrong or bad at something. And the only way for us to make serious and positive change in our lives is through deep introspection. So you will have to trust that we prioritize our well-being and that only we will be able to change us into who we should be. Of course, the head fake with all these pieces of advice is that parents are probably aware of all of them, and that the parents out there have a much more nuanced view of what it means to be a parent than any of us students will in the next 10 or 20 or 40 years. I doubt that I have changed any minds in the last 4 minutes. The real purpose of my advice was simply to get parents and students thinking together about the same issues that will have the most powerful effect in our lives. Yes, my advice was partially aimed introspectively because we students are not the dead and dying. We are only just becoming alive. So my last and only real advice to parents is this. We know we don't say thank you enough. So once in a while, it is totally appropriate just to make us say it. Thank you.